When I was helping my sister decide whether to upgrade her kitchen, she kept saying, "I love cooking, but I don't want to end up with a fancy range that just sits there gathering dust." She's the type who will spend an hour tweaking a recipe, then get frustrated if the oven takes forever to heat or if the burners aren't responsive enough for a quick stir-fry. I could hear the hesitation in her voice. She wants something that actually makes everyday cooking easier, not a gadget that looks cool on Instagram, but adds another layer of complexity. So I dug into the specs, skimmed a handful of user forums, and tried to picture how the Samsung Bespoke 30-inch Smart Slide-In would fit into a real family kitchen. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most people ask about a high-tech gas range like this is whether the smart features are a genuine time saver or just a novelty. Samsung's Wi-Fi integration talks to SmartThings, lets you monitor the oven temperature from your phone, and even responds to voice commands through Alexa or Google Assistant. In practice, that means you can preheat the convection oven while you're still loading the dishwasher, or you can ask your speaker, "Is the oven at 375?" and get a spoken readout without opening the door. For someone who likes to multitask, think of a busy parent juggling homework and dinner. That remote check can shave off a few minutes of standing by the oven. On the flip side, if you're not already in the Samsung ecosystem or you don't use voice assistants regularly, the Wi-Fi layer can feel like an extra step you'll never touch. You'll still have a perfectly functional oven without ever opening the app, so the smart side is optional, not mandatory. The Convection Plus oven is the next big selling point. Samsung cranks up to a 6.0 cubic foot space, and the Convection Plus label promises faster, more even cooking. I tried it with a batch of frozen chicken wings, set to air fry at 400°F, and they turned out crisp on the outside while staying juicy inside in about 22 minutes, noticeably quicker than my older conventional oven, which took close to 30 minutes and left the wings a bit soggy on the bottom. The air fry function uses the same fan and heating elements, so you don't need a separate countertop appliance. The Vide mode is a bit more niche. It essentially runs the oven at low, steady temperatures with the fan on, which can be handy if you're experimenting with precision cooking but isn't a daily necessity. For most home cooks, the real value is the ability to get that roasted, caramelized finish without having to flip halfway through. Now let's talk about the cooktop. 5 burners give you flexibility, and the flagship 18 kBTU brass burner stands out. It's built on continuous grates, which means the surface stays flat when you move a large pan or a griddle across it. No step where the burner ends. When I fired it up for a quick sear on a steak, the flame hit the pan instantly, and the temperature held steady enough that the steak got a good crust without a hot spot that would burn one side. The brass construction also distributes heat more evenly across the pan, which is a subtle but noticeable advantage if you frequently use wok-style cooking or a large sauté pan. The downside is that the high-output burner draws a lot of gas, so if you're on a tight utility budget, you'll see a modest uptick on the bill compared to a lower BTU model. Also, the other 4 burners are standard size. They're fine for simmering sauces or boiling pasta, but they don't have the same visual punch as the flagship burner, which could feel a bit underwhelming if you were hoping for a uniformly powerful layout. Aesthetic considerations matter, too, especially with the Bespoke line that promises a personalized look. The slidey-in design with a recessed handle gives the range a seamless feel against the cabinets, and the stainless steel finish resists fingerprints better than a high-gloss alternative. The control panel is minimalist, with knobs that rotate rather than push-button dials, which keeps the surface clean and makes it easier to wipe down. The oven also features a self-cleaning cycle, so you don't have to wrestle with a heavy-duty chemical cleaner after a big roast. One hidden trade-off is that the slidey-in dimensions require a precise cabinet cutout. If your kitchen isn't already set up for a 30-inch slidey-in, you may need a professional installer to adjust the countertop or side panels, adding a few $100s to the overall cost. Who should consider this range? If you love the convenience of gas cooking, the instant heat, the visual control of the flame, but also want the flexibility of a modern convection oven that can air fry, then this is a solid hybrid. It shines for families who do a lot of weeknight meals, batch cooking, or occasional entertaining where you need both rapid sears and evenly baked dishes. The SmartThings connectivity is a bonus for tech-savvy households that already use Samsung appliances or voice assistants, making